So the Lakers just had their best, most dominant win of the season, and it just so happened to be against one of the best teams in the league, the Boston Celtics. Let's talk about it. Before we get started, if you guys can do me a huge favor and drop a like on the video and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future Lakers and other sports content. So as you all know, this is rivalry week, which is a huge week for the NBA, and the Lakers just faced off against the Boston Celtics. This is the most famed, notorious rivalry in NBA history, and one of the best rivalries in all of sports, if you ask me. So I know a lot of us were really looking forward to this game and seeing how the Lakers would stack up. And with the recent controversy, quote unquote, in the media, in terms of LeBron James, Anthony Davis being pretty vocal about the front office and how they should be willing to pretty much do what they can to put the Lakers in a position to be championship contenders. This was definitely a statement game, and the Lakers showed up big time. The Lakers beat the Celtics 117-96. And as I mentioned before, it was pretty much a dominant win from start to finish. Let's take a look at some of these stats. We shot a much better percentage from the field as well as from three. We only missed 2 free throws all night out of 20 attempts, which you'd love to see. And we killed them on the rebounds as well, 53 total to their 42. And if you look at the bottom here, you can see that our largest lead of the game was 28, which is very interesting because not only was that our largest lead of the entire season, but that was the biggest deficit of the Celtics all season as well. I'm telling you, you can't make this up. Something else to keep in mind as well is that the Celtics are one of the best teams in the league in terms when it comes to turnovers. And we were able to force 7 turnovers, which really isn't that bad. But if you look at us as well, we only committed 10. And of those 7 turnovers, we were able to convert 15 of them for points, which is great. If you take a look at some of these individual stats, we had some really strong performances from multiple players. Starting with Anthony Davis, he finished with 24 points. 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks. He was perfect from the free throw line and pretty efficient from the field. Obviously, we've seen more dominant games from Anthony Davis in terms of just overall statistics and production. But I think it was really important to watch this game in order to see his impact. His energy was different. He was very aggressive. He attacked the paint. You know, he didn't shy away from a matchup against Porzingis or pretty much any big that they threw at him. You can just tell his energy was different for this matchup, and he really brought that aggressive energy to this game, which you love to see. It reminded me a lot of that 2020 AD, you know what I mean? Looking at LeBron James, he did what he always does. He had a really productive game overall. He finished with 20 points, 14 rebounds, which was huge, 6 assists. Didn't have a great shooting night from 3, but overall he was fairly efficient. And he definitely had his moments where he understood the assignments, particularly that fourth quarter when the Celtics started hitting those threes. You had it in the back of your mind, like, okay, this is when they're starting to turn the tide a little bit because those 3-pointers can cut down that deficit quickly. But LeBron stepped up. He hit some big time mid-range jumpers to be like, you know what, that's not happening in this game. All right, we're gonna close this out and we're gonna send y'all. I almost cursed. we're gonna send y'all home with an L. Okay. So LeBron, he had a very strong game as well. Shout out to Austin Reeves. He finished with 23 points. He had 6 assists, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. But most importantly, he was 4 of 8 from 3. I love how Austin Reeves was super aggressive from the start with his jump shot. Those threes were huge. And I think that really kind of lit the fire when it came to creating that separation in terms of a big lead. So shout out to Austin Reeves, man. His jump shot was definitely working tonight. It seems like Austin Reeves just, whenever we play the Celtics, he understands the assignment, which I love. I mean, he's always been a competitor. And that's why, regardless of his ups and downs, I've always been hesitant to trade Austin Reeves because he is a really good player, but he's a dog and he's not scared of anyone. He has his moments where he's clutch and he steps up. He's not afraid of the big moments. So shout out to Austin Reeves, man. He had a great game. When it comes to our bench production, definitely a huge shout out to Gabe Vincent. He has another strong game. He played 26 minutes, finished with 12 points, 4 assists, 0 turnovers. He was 4 of 8 from the field and 4 of 7 from 3. So again, between him and Austin Reeves, they really lit the fire from our 3-point range, and they helped us big time when it came to creating that gap in terms of the score. So nice job, Gabe Vincent. And of course, last but not least, Dalton Connect. DK has been struggling a lot lately with his jump shot. And to begin the season, that was his strong suit. You know, he had some really strong performances and it seemed like he just couldn't miss. And since then, he's been really struggling. So it was nice to see DK develop a bit of a rhythm, start knocking some shots down. He finished the game with 13 points, and he went 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. So hopefully this is a sign that he's trending in the right direction towards getting that shot back. So what does this mean going forward? And by that, I mean, like I mentioned earlier in the video, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, they've both been pretty vocal about what their expectations are of the front office to continue to make moves to improve the roster and put them in a position to compete for a championship. This was a statement game, a huge statement. You're talking about one of the best teams in the league, the defending champions, and they got dominated by the Lakers. Now, to be fair, and I know some of you probably don't want to hear this, but it is true. It's something that we have to consider, and we do have to be realistic. The Celtics are coming off a back-to-back. Their last game was an overtime game, and they played 5 games in the last 7 days. We'll give them that. But here's the thing, though. I'm not worried about the Celtics. This wasn't about what the Celtics didn't do, but more so about what the Lakers did do, if that makes sense. The Lakers played amazing basketball, regardless of who the opponent was. We rebounded the ball. We kept our turnovers down. We were hitting our shots. We got contributions from multiple players. It was a well-rounded win in which everyone executed their role damn near to perfection. And our defense was probably the best that it has looked all season. That should be the biggest takeaway from this game. And it just so happened to be against the defending champion Boston Celtics. That's the big takeaway. So at this point, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, Rob Pelinka, Genie Bus, the ball is in your court. What are you going to do? Because unfortunately, like I was preaching in the summer, and I've been preaching for months now, the move to make over the summer was Walker Kessler and Zach LaVine. If we had made that move, this team looks much different than what it looks like now. And it would not surprise me in the least bit if we were probably at the top of the West or close to it. But that's the past. And now we have to look at our current situation. Is Zach LaVine still possible? Technically, yes, but highly unlikely. You're talking about stacking a bunch of salaries just to hit the price mark, that $43 million that Zach LaVine is making annually. And at this point, you're probably going to have to include Jared Vanderbilt, who is nowhere near an expiring contract, and he hasn't played basketball in about a year. So what does that mean? That means any team that's going to take on Jared Vanderbilt's contract is likely going to ask for draft capital to be attached. And they would be smart if they ask for at least 1 first-round pick. So if the Bulls are going to take on Jared Vanderbilt, they're going to say, okay, cool, give us a first. And we're not really in a position to say no if we want Zach LaVine. So listen, man, as much as I've advocated for LaVine and as much as I want him on this team, it's not looking good. Is it possible? Yes. Probable? No, not really. Walker Kessler, that is still on the table. And I will say this, and I'll die on this hill. He is worth 2 first-round picks. What are you holding on to those picks for? You don't want to mortgage our future. What future? We're the Lakers. We're trying to win now. Let me ask you this. What center that's in the market right now that fits better than Walker Kessler? Tell me. No one. Not a single center that's available right now is a better fit for the Los Angeles Lakers than Walker Kessler. You're talking about mortgaging your future. He's 23 years old. That's the beauty of this move. He's already dominant defensively and offensively. First of all, he's better than what we currently have offensively, but he's only going to get better. So not only is this a move to help us win now, but you're talking about acquiring our center for the future. Walker Kessler will be our center for probably the next 10 years. So this whole concept of just holding on to these picks because you're scared of what might happen in the future, that doesn't make sense to me. You don't know what the future holds, but you do know what you have now. And what you have now is LeBron James and Anthony Davis, which is still one of the best duos in the league. And you know now that a high-quality center like Walker Kessler can help elevate this team to championship contention. In my book, that's worth 2 first-round picks. No question. Get the deal done. I'm tired of this, man. I'm sick of it. You saw how we played last night. You saw the potential. Now, what if we actually upgrade the roster? I don't know how many different ways I can say it. I don't know how many different ways Anthony Davis can say it. He's been begging for a backup center for years now. He's your superstar. He won you a championship. It's time to pony up. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, man. I think it's about that time. The clock is ticking. The trade deadline is at February 6th. I'll say it again. Rob Pelinka, Genie Bus, the ball is in your court. Make it happen. All right, that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, again, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you on the next video. Air.